Hello, Internet. I'm Corione, your witch in residence here on YouTube. And today I want to talk about one of my favorite video games of all time and what we can learn from it. I'm going to do my best to make this not sound like one of those vacation videos, like, come check out the City of Heroes. I'm going to try to avoid that, but there's a lot of things that I do want to talk about in this game that have a lot of depth to them, and I think it's important to cover. Before I get too far in, we've recently had a big influx of new subscribers, so thank you for that. But it does mean that there are still some people out there who have not yet chosen to subscribe to my channel. If you are among those people, please consider doing so. I promise to make it worth your while, and make it so worth your while that you'll even consider one of our channel memberships. Thank you so much. With that obligatory ritual out of the way, let's talk about City of Heroes. Now, for context, I played this game from week one it came out all the way until the initial game, or the initial version of the game, I should say, closed its doors. And to me, it was one of those games that was absolutely fantastic. Okay? For its time, it had fantastic graphics. Okay? For its time, it did everything it could. But now that it's been closed and down for 10 years, and now has come back under a free, complete model, I want to talk about some of the things that are great about it. For starters, I want to start with the community. Look, this game would not have been resurrected from the abyss if it hadn't been for a dedicated team of coders, modders, specialists, programmers that had all sat down and had so much love and dedication for this game that they were determined to bring it back, right? And not even just the code team, but lawyers and producers and people who volunteered their time to try to convince a video game company in Korea to take a chance and let them just run this server out for as long as they could. And now that it's back, I see how much love that community has for the game. Everybody that I knew from the original playthrough has come back at some point to check out their old stomping grounds and replay characters or play new ones that they never got the opportunity to try. Everybody who I've run into so far has been friendly, has been welcoming, has had the same opinion that they want to make sure that the community stays amazing for as long as possible because of how wonderful it has been to be part of this community in the past. But community isn't just going to keep you in a game, right? I mean, graphics sure are great, but gameplay is what counts. Now, for a game of its time, the gameplay is fairly straightforward. You have powers that are on cycle times, and you have a stamina bar, and you can only use so much of it at a time. Right, okay. But the stories themselves are fantastic. They are written to feel like comic book episodes. I'm 100% willing to bet you could have someone write out your adventures of your character based on this and turn it into a comic book without very much trouble at all, right? There are fantastic and well documented authors that have played this game for forever because they appreciate the quality and depth of writing involved in this game. I'll give you a great example. One of the early campaigns you do is you find out about a new type of drug that is giving people basically superpowers, but is damaging their lives and shortening them in the extreme. So you're tasked with trying to find it. So not only do you take on the street level dealers and get information to move up, but at one point you actually have your character's image changed to look like one of the bad guys and sneak around in their distribution center trying to learn all you can about their criminal network, and finally you take on the arch villain behind this whole criminal conspiracy. This is the level of depth that they go to. And every one of the stories has characters that show up later and have plot developments. And some heroes go in one direction and then dramatically take left turns. It feels like the comic books from the 90s that I grew up reading. Back when the comic books were amazing. This game harkens back to that. Okay? If you like games where you feel like you are the hero of your story, this is the one for you. Conversely, it also includes City of Villains. So if you've ever wanted to play the bad guy, if you've ever wanted to thwart the schemes of good doers, City of Villains also is there for you. And there's even a expansion that allows you to play as anti-heroes and anti-villains, and allows you to play with the morality of where you want to be as a character. And the neat thing is, you can, in theory, play one of the characters as fairly neutral at the beginning and allow your moral choices that you make based on the experiences that you have determine whether you will be a hero or a villain. I think that's a fantastic idea. I think the writing in this story is amazing, and there are cutscenes and little mini movies that take you through the lives of all the characters that you interact with, eventually moving yourself up to the top tier of heroes. And by that point, you've made so many friends and have so many allies that now you're not just your version of Tony Stark. You're an Avenger in a team, working at the top level, trying to defeat top level foes. It feels very much like they understood how to write a heroic epic, and do so in a way that not only allows an individual to do it, but an individual playing wildly diverse characters to feel like they're the hero, to feel like they're the unique character in their story. Heck, even to be the supporting character in someone else's story. Many times have I teamed up with somebody else who was trying to complete a mission and needed to call in their buddies to defeat a larger foe. And that almost feels like a comic book team-up episode. This is the game that comic book nerds had deserved and never quite felt like they got until City of Heroes. And I definitely feel like City of Heroes is one of those games that did not get a decent enough shake at the beginning, but certainly got it later. So, what can we learn from this? Well, we get an escape from reality, obviously. We get amazing stories of heroes that can inspire us, or villains and villainous schemes that can intrigue us, or even just people trying to live their lives in a world full of superpowered people, right? I mean, think about this. How would you handle a world where powered people existed and you're just trying to get to the office every day, potentially having to deal with villains on the streets and random dudes flying by and shooting laser beams out of their eyes and taking them out as you're walking down the street? Would you panic? Would you not want to be part of this anymore? There are story arcs about that, right? There are story arcs about some of the villains that take you through their motivations and help you understand where they came from. And while they certainly don't make you sympathize with them, they help you understand them. And I feel like that's a fascinating piece. Too often these days, we are given villains that we are, for some reason, supposed to sympathize with, which can be an interesting journey, but I don't want to sympathize for the Joker. I want to know him so I can avoid him. And that's what City of Heroes does best, is our villains are villainous, our heroes are heroic paragons of virtue. and everybody in between is still trying to figure it all out. And you get a chance to play as any part of that. It allows you to ask the question, what would you do with these kind of powers? What would you do if you couldn't be matched? Would you choose to help people? Would you choose to be out for yourself? What would you do? So I feel in a lot of ways, City of Heroes can act as a mirror to the self, right? I made my character actually look very similar to me as I was when I was originally playing the game. And because of that, I always felt that part of me was invested in this character. So I was going to make the choices that my character should make if they were me. And it's led down some interesting roads. And really made me realize that there are pieces of my better nature that I sometimes ignore in my daily life that maybe I shouldn't. And that might be the greatest lesson of City of Heroes of all, is, you know, there's a saying that says eagles may soar, but weasels never get sucked into jet engine intakes. Well, sometimes it's still easier to be an eagle than a weasel. And sometimes I forget that. And a game like this reminds me to stretch out my wings and soar and reach for that high place. Even if that means sometimes I might get sucked into a jet engine or two. That's what I've got for you guys today. I really do hope you check out City of Heroes. I will put a link on the how to start playing in the description of this video if you feel like it. I am on the Reunion server, so if you happen to be on Reunion and wandering through and you see me flying by, feel free to wave hi and send me a friend invite, and maybe we can go save the city together. Thank you very much, guys. Merry meet, merry part, merry meet again. Take care, everybody. Bye-bye.